There's a lot of ways in which you could expand learning through digital. Does that create the same kind of community? Does it break into loneliness in the same way?
Oh, God, because you've now entrapped me into sounding like the Luddite that I probably am. City Lit's purpose, we've defined our purpose, is bringing people together to enrich lives through learning. And the bringing people together bit, I think, is really, really important, particularly in today's society. I think
and bringing together in the flesh as opposed to online.
And yeah, till to this day, I've no idea how you throw a pot virtually and through remotely. So actually, the visual arts, the performing arts, they obviously lend themselves to physical presence. Languages, which we do, I think, 35 living and dead languages at the college. We've got the biggest array of languages in the country. But a lot of our students say, I tried to do it through
yes,
cassette, or I'm showing my age, aren't I? Cassette, exactly.
Yes.
8-track. Is they try and do it in the digital form, but then they realise that they want to practice. It's the rigour of making sure they come every week, that they do their homework, etc. Some people are terribly well disciplined. Most of us kind of need that structure. I think there is a very important part of the digital world has to play in terms of education, but I think it's the phrase blended learning grates on me somewhat, but the idea that actually we get together and then I can go and the stuff that I don't necessarily need, I can go and read, I can go and see online, I can watch a video to enhance what I'm doing, but it's part of what I'm doing. It should never replace it, in my view, for all of the other positives around community and being part of that grouping. I also think literally getting up, going to a place that is different from where you are normally, that's actually important. That journey, that difference. I'm a great believer, and this goes back to my commercial education days. You'd often say, when I talk to clients, they'd say, "Oh, well, we could do it at the office, the training. It'll be cheaper. We can do it in the conference room on the 6th floor or whatever." And my answer was, yes, you'll get some results, but if you actually take people out their physically normal environments, it's proven that people learn in a different way. They open themselves up because the journey there is different from their regular journey. They're walking in, their navigation, suddenly their mind has to start opening.
I absolutely agree, because I think that's an argument for adult residential education, which we did at Northern College. And my argument always was that there's lots of people who have residential education. So if you think of management, executive management courses, they're often residential. In some ways, university is a residential learning experience. Boarding school, residential learning, and largely they're the preserve of the wealthy. But why do people pay for that? Well, it's because it's a very effective, accelerated way to learn. As you say, that being dislocated from your usual environment means that you're more open, I think, to new ideas. So I think adult residential education is really important in terms of removing people often from quite grim living situations and really putting them in a world where they're free from the constraints that gives and letting them learn.
I couldn't agree more.
You brought your team to Northern College, didn't you?
We did, and we had a lovely time, but it was also very good. It wasn't just the normal place that we go, and you go home and you deal with the problems at home. We went to a different environment. Your college was just the best host you can imagine, and that we went and had a drink afterwards. We ate together, so there was a community for my senior team, and then we got up the next morning. And I do believe there is something very important about learning, particularly when it's about self-reflection and self-development, the sleep on it thing. It's very easy when you're getting challenged. So we train a lot of psychologists and counselling students. I'll tell you something, and you go, "Wow, that's not really me, is it?" And it's very easy if you then walk away. But if you have the night to think about it, you come back in the morning, you kind of start to go, "Oh yeah, well actually it could be me, couldn't it?" So I think we have many blessings at City Lit in terms of location and the depth and breadth of the society we're able to draw on. But I do miss the fact that we don't have a residential option. I would love if some kind soul would give us a hotel for free and staff it for free, then I would love to have residential education, because I know actually what you've just said, I've never thought about it away, but you're right. why should it be a preserve of the rich and the elite? It should be democratized because there's something life-affirming of going away. And then re-entering,
Yes.
is really important as
Yes.
well, because you start to look at it with new eyes.
And of course you take the learning back with you into your own
Yes.
community.
And that's the bits that we talk about the mental health work that we do, is the ripple effect. I mean, at the Mental Health Festival, the morning of the first day is we bring in a lot of HR directors. That, for me, is the way to get to the most people. If we can change the views about how HR directors spread good practice within their organisations, both in the charitable sector, corporate sector, whatever it might be, then the ripple effect is huge. And the ripple effect of adult education is enormous. It's whether it is the stressed out lawyer who comes and does kind of pottery in the
Chocolate
evening
tasting.
and just goes back happier at home. That's a good thing. So I'm sure their partner, their children and their dog are all a lot happier with a happier person in the house. So, and you don't want to trivialise it. There is a real danger. I mean, I don't think we'd have been able to have this conversation 10 years ago. Well, we might have done, but we wouldn't have definitely done it on camera, because I think there was that thing is, it was almost that, well, we have to prove ourselves that everything is terribly worthy and has a metric and a result.
And produces a flexible workforce.
Produces
Yes.
a flexible workforce. And for me, actually, society is now moving on very, very fast. And we've got to be really bold and say, there are all of these things, some of which we can measure, a lot of which we can measure, and we can prove that it's very good. But there's some stuff I know in my gut, we haven't got there to be able to measure some of the well-being pieces.